Let's get this voltage regulator fitted and tested. This is my 96 Quad Runner 250, just a two-wheel drive version. It's got a faulty voltage regulator. I've done a part 1 video on the voltage regulator. I'm going to fit that today. There's the replacement one, a $20 unit here in Australia. It fits in behind this grill here, so all of the front rack plastic, dash, the gear shift knobs, everything's got to come off to get into where that voltage regulator fits. And I'm going to begin the process by lifting the bike up. I've already put a strap on the rear there, got the rear wheels off the ground. I've got that hooked up to my bottom of my hoist. I've put a board across the platforms there. I'm going to put another strap down to the front and get the front up in the air and get the wheels off the front, because with the wheels out of the way it's even easier to get the plastics off. So we've got some air. Let's get these wheels off the front and strip some gear off this. As you can see, I've got the wheels off, the battery out. I've got the console undone. Oh, that's my gear shift indicator that I'm going to rebuild and make a new enclosure for. Front plastic, I think, is about ready to come up. I think that I've left a couple of bolts in the base of the battery container, which is all that's holding it at the moment. Obviously the front rack's off, headlights off. We're ready to pull those bolts out of the bottom of the battery container. You've got to feed these wires back through the slots, which means unplugging them here and taking the leads off the bottom of these fuses and feeding them back through that hole there. So I've got all the front plastics off. I can now get to the voltage regulator, which is here. It's just plugged in there. What I'm going to do is sit the battery back up on it and get the engine started and just do a final check to see that the old voltage regulator is failing, and then also confirm that the new voltage regulator works properly. That's what I'm going to do now. Looks like I've got a bit of a rat's nest in the front of the bike there. I don't know whether it's just a rat's nest or a collection of grass seeds that have accumulated there. This whole front end will get a wash down and clean up, so that it's getting a bit of a berth though while the covers are off. So that's normal running with the revving. I'll turn the pneumatic fan on. It drops 0.4 volt, which seems a better regulation than before. So I think this that's the new voltage regulator plugged in. The old one's in behind there. I haven't mounted the new one yet, but I think that's pretty conclusive that the old one's playing up and the new one's good. That's the new voltage regulator mounted in the correct location, cable tied down here and the plug plugged in there. Now, a bit of a secret with these screws is that they're often very tight or corroded and stuck I sprayed some lubricant, CRC in my case, but WD-40 type lubricant down in behind that panel through there to try and get some lubricant in at the back of these threads, and then it soaked overnight. It's easy to strip out the heads of those screws unless you've got the right screwdriver. I used a Posi-Drive #2 screwdriver in my rattle gun, and they come out relatively easily. A Posi-Drive screwdriver like that fits with no wobble at all in the Phillips style head. It's actually a Posi-Drive head. That's a must, I think, for working on these bikes where you've got Phillips head style screws. They are actually Japanese Posi-Drive style type screws. Well worth the investment. I bought 6 of these for about $10. Haven't damaged any of them, and they've been working brilliantly. I'm just going to turn the ignition on. This is my gear shift display that should actually be showing a 0 up this end, but it's not. Probably a loose connector, it doesn't matter. We are in neutral and 12.7 volts. I'll turn the run stop switch on. She's flipped over to 13.8 volts while it's idling there. Doesn't seem to matter what revs you're running. It's very stable. I turn the pneumatic fan on. It drops 0.4 of a volt off that battery voltage, but again, remains quite stable at all revs. So that new battery voltage regulator is working good. That's the fan off. Kill the run stop and turn the ignition off. So if that's all I had to do, that job's done, and it just needs everything being put back. I'm going to take on a number of other jobs while I've got it apart. I want to fix the exhaust. The exhaust has got minor external damage that's visible, but there's a hole here, and there's another large hole underneath there, and so I'm going to put a whole new end plate in the exhaust. I'm going to design and print a new enclosure for the ignition that incorporates the display for the gear change. Get out to your shed and have some fun.